So John, tell me about the Piano Orphanage Project and what happened.
The Piano Orphanage Project was a great idea that will now never be. A few years ago, some students and I had come up with a great idea to bring piano lessons to orphans. We had realized that the basic needs of orphans are really oftentimes focused on, but who looks out after them for, the things that some of us that have been more privileged get exposed to, like piano lessons and the arts.
Right.
So we were in a great position to be able to do something about that. And that's where this whole idea started. So when we came up with the idea, we started to form the 501c3 and had started to form a board. And this board was comprised of a lot of well thought of professionals in their respective industries. One of those people was a lady who had worked as a major gift donor officer for large corporations, two large corporations for 25 years. And she had volunteered to do our fundraising for us. Well, right at the time where we were starting this, the economy tanked. And so she said that this was just not a good idea to start approaching, different companies who could help it, fund the project and help endow it. So we put the project on hold. So fast forward a couple of years to the present, and things seem to be starting to get, the economy starts to improve. And so we needed to have a website done for APA. And the designer said that if she did both of the sites, the APA site and the pianoorphanageproject.org site, she would give us a discount.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it seemed to make sense for us to let her go ahead and to start to develop a prototype website. And we didn't have any of the elements in place, of course, because we didn't, we hadn't started soliciting for monies or, going, to corporations. But she needed to have things in place. She needed to have the number of pages that the site was going to be, and what elements were going to go on what pages, and do we need a contributions page? Do we need to have a logos page? So as we were making those decisions, as she needed them to be related to her at the point that she was, creating the site, we were, trying to do the best we could, and foreseeing what it is that the site should be, and what elements should be on the page. So she developed this prototype site. It was just a mock-up, but she pulled logos from local corporations that we would eventually be approaching, and put those on the corporation site page of the site, and pulled up again other elements like pictures and other things that she would need as placeholders on the site. And that's when the reporter at that point decided to get involved in investigating this Piano Orphanage project. And he elected to make it seem like the project was already in operations, and at first made the assertion that we were accepting large amounts of money from these corporations just by the mere fact that we had a mock-up site that we had been working on. Well, he actually contacted every single one of those corporations whose logos we had used as just placeholders on the site, and they told him that no monies had ever been given.
Right.
So he knew the truth.
Yeah.
That no monies had ever been asked for, no monies had ever been given. But to make a story, he elected to twist the situation to make it appear as if, this website was up there just for the reason of accepting donations, when it was clearly explained to him that it was just a mock-up site, and again, was just, those elements were there just for placement.
He was making a story where there was none.
Right. And so, as the situation continued, to make this a story out of nothing where nothing existed, he tried to pull together other pieces and make them seem like they were deceptive and not what they should have been. And it's really a shame, because he's eliminated the ability for this project to ever get off the ground.
And what would have happened if you had actually taken money? Wouldn't there be criminal charges?
Well, yeah, I mean, this would have been a legal issue. This
Uh-huh.
wouldn't be just a made-up story to
Mhm.
make it seem like, something wrong had happened and, we or I was guilty of wrongdoing.
Mhm.
But again, it was just on his part, just for the purpose of making a story.
Mhm.
As it turns out, I've been really fortunate in my life, and a lot of the other people that were volunteering their time for this effort have been as well. And we wanted to give back. This was our way of giving back for what we'd been given.
Mhm.
And it is shameful on his part
Right.
that he's ruined the ability for this project to ever get off the ground. Because once it's been tainted, like he did, it's hard to overcome that kind of just that kind of feeling that he has now associated with this
So,
project.
are you saying, like you said in the beginning, that it's a great idea that will never be? So you're saying that this project you'll never be able to help the orphans?
Right. And shame on him because he was the one that's now caused that to happen. It had nothing but the purest of intentions. We had a group of great adult professionals that were, well thought of in their respective fields, like I said, in finance, in major gift donor, donations. Somebody from the Psychological Association was going to be on the board. So we had all of the different elements represented that we thought would have made this project successful, and so that we could have developed it into something that would have been meaningful and could have really made a difference in the lives of orphans. Bringing them the gift and joy of music that could have benefited them for their entire life.
Mhm.
And everybody who knows the situation, the truth of the situation,
Right.
who's involved in the project, who donated their thoughts and their initial time and agreed to to volunteer for this just budding organization. Everybody who knows about the truth of the situation is so disappointed and so disillusioned that that this reporter would take a situation as pure as it was
Right.
and twist it and present it purposely
Right.
in a way that it wasn't that shouldn't have been.
Yeah, it affects the credibility, it affects your ability to raise funds, and people don't want to get involved in something that
has controversy from its very beginning.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So because of that reason, I don't see us being able to continue forward with this
Uh-huh.
project, at least in the state, of how he presented it, and what he, the insinuations that he's giving people to think about it.
Yeah.
It's a shame,
It
but
is a shame, isn't it?
but it is, but it is a project now that will never be.
Wow, shame on
I
him.
know, shame on him.
My goodness, wow. Well, thank you for shedding light on the truth.
You're welcome.